Quantum Kickflip is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network. Locally grown, community supported.
Previously on Quantum Kickflip.
His hand opens up and there's a needle that kind of juts out from his palm and just like jabs it into Woldton.
As you stab Wolt, this sudden shock of pain tips over the edge with a upsetting pop. Wolt is gone.
Why did you make him peel back?
Yeah, Maeve punches Trev.
I made it to the top of the board.
I filmed you doing that. You're welcome.
Fucks off.
Whatever.
My name's Hattie.
Nice to meet you, Hattie. I'm Brinley.
Have you ever thought of delivering cross towers, Brinley? Tower relations are far too delicate for an unpredictable element like this to be thrown in the mix. The presence of this crew could undo everything we've worked towards. Does he remember? I don't know. Then we need to make sure his loyalties are in the right place. It looks like he has a debt to pay. Everybody, and welcome back to Quantum Kickflip, a Slugblaster actual play podcast. My name is Laena, I am your host and your Slugmaster, and with me are 5 of my best and funniest friends in the whole world who are going to introduce themselves to you now. As you introduce yourselves, I want to know, if you, the player, were put in Operablum, which tower's philosophy and lifestyle do you feel like you would align with the most?
Hi, my name is Liam. I play Helix Pinnacle. He's the Smarts playbook with the Hardlight board. He belongs to Web Tower, and I'd like to think I would too. My Twitter handle actually describes my one of the fake credits I've given myself in my Twitter bio is pre-op cyborg. So I can't wait to not have the body that I have and replace it all with machine parts. There's a great Jonathan Colton song that has the line, when the things that make me weak and strange get engineered away.
Ooh.
That I always sort of resonated with me. So yeah, can't wait to fix my body with machine parts.
Hi, I'm Michael Vetsch, and I'm here playing Woldton Wick, the chill playbook with the robot companion. And this is a hard pick. This is a little tricky wicket. I think maybe I'll go Lansden. The restoration thing seems like a good what? You take care of the place you're in, and it's a good idea? Oh, that's got something to it. Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I can see that.
My name is Robyn Slack. I play Maeveline Xandross, the Grit playbook with the photonic jacket. She belongs to Lansden Tower, and I'd like to think I would belong to Lansden Tower because I agree with their ideals the most. And, like Michael was saying, the restoration and the taking care of the place you live. But I feel like that's me outside the game with the objective perspective. And if I actually lived there, I'm an actor and a comedian and a musician, and I could be out trying to save the world and doing social justice and protesting every day and making the world a better place, but I'm not all the time. I try my best, so I think I'd be in Kindred, and I would feel really guilty about it and, donate to Lansden fundraisers a lot and be maybe just share stuff on social media about Lansden, what Lansden's up to, and be like, this is good. We should really all get behind this, but
Also come to my show.
Yeah, also come to my show. In Kindred, please.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Glenna. I play Brinley Zirk. She is the Guts playbook, and she has the Gravity Blaster. I know this is a bit of a Lansden train, but I think I really like the artisanal aspect of Lansden, as well as the restoration philosophy for sure. But I think as someone who has been into sewing and prop building and that kind of thing, I can really get behind handmade artisanal crafts.
My name is David Ray, and I am playing Trev 4, who is the Heart playbook. And you know what? Like Trev 4, who is a part of Kindred, I too am very Kindred. You know what I always say to myself, how can we find new planets and new places to go and take their resources to make my life a little easier? Because frankly, boy, I don't know if you notice, there's too much work I have to do every day. So, pro Kindred all the way. Bring me more resources for free, please. Thank you.
We all could use some more resources, am I right? Hey,
The inflation.
The inflation, society, etc. And as I said, I'm Laena. I am your host and Slugmaster. And when I got my phone, it was on the brink of becoming an outdated model. And the same happened this past year when I got my piano. I keep getting things as they're about to become obsolete. So clearly the latest fashion does not matter to me. So Kindred is out. And surgeries yuck me out, what good. So Web is out. So I think I would be a Lansden person, even though I want all the towers to get along because I love my friends. Anyway, y'all went to DaiboCon. I think in some ways it was very successful. And there were a couple of little ways that it didn't go entirely as planned, such as, little bit of peel back, which is not the best, but I want to check in on the crew and see how y'all are doing, so let's play some Slugblaster.
Yeah.
Woo!
The shifts immediately following Gold Star Disaster's ill-fated trip to DaiboCon are quiet and tense, both between the members of the crew and the towers of Operablum. Skyways shut down, and two-factor authentication creeps into wireless networks as the towers isolate further from each other. For Gold Star Disaster, routine settles in to dampen the tension. In Web Corporation Megatower, Helix Pinnacle reports to the Pinnacle Project for his diagnostics and regular nutrition and hormone intake. In Lansden Enterprise Megatower, Brinley Zirk returns to her work at Post Host. Deliveries begin to slow down, and all of them are contained to Lansden. In the Assyrium Temple, Tarmint assigns extra study materials stressing the importance of multiversal balance to Maeveline Xandross and her fellow seedlings. In Kindred Multiversal Megatower, Woldton Wick's recovery is ongoing and difficult. When the Euphorophil finally wore off, it brought on a crash that exacerbated the symptoms of his peelback. When that went away, so too went the promise of a restful sleep. Through all of this, Scampykin's health and well-being remain intact. It seems to be the one thing Wolt can reliably maintain. In the bot shop, Trev4 sits in his port in low power mode, patiently waiting for his crew to pick him up for the next run. Every 90 minutes, he logs into the private Nexo chat room, and every time he does, a message pops up, informing him of the last known activity. It's always the same. 90 minutes ago, Trev4 logged in. 87 minutes ago, Trev4 logged out. He also periodically checks the group text thread, which is similarly silent. Some time passes, quiet and tense. Then, the silence is broken by a message from Trev4 to the Gold Star Disaster group thread. The message contains a link to a video call, followed by one word: urgent. Wolt, Maeve, Helix, Bryn, and Trev. You find yourselves in a chat room waiting to be admitted into a video call. This isn't NexoChat, this is KinCon, short for Kindred Conference. There's a message floating at the top of each of your screens that just says waiting to be admitted. And in the meantime, the five of you have a brief opportunity to chat using the text messaging feature built into the waiting room before meeting with official representatives of Kindred Multiversal Megatower.
Walt, how have you been? I haven't talked to you since, I'm sorry, it's been so hard to get between the towers, and I haven't even been able to get a good inter-tower signal until Trev sent this invite. How you holding up?
I've been fine. Sleep comes when it can. Does anyone know what this call is supposed to be for?
I'm trepidatious about connecting to a Kindred communication network. I was under the impression these are all but outlawed. That's why we use the defunct Nexo chat.
Hey, wait a minute, Trev. If you're here, then who are we waiting on to let us in? What's this all about?
I have just been informed that I needed to get the entirety of the group called Gold Star Disaster together in order to meet with some Kindred Corporation higher-ups.
Are we in trouble or so? Higher-ups never sounds good. They're only called higher-ups when they're mad at you, I feel like.
Oh, no, it is never bad with Kindred. Kindred is only there to look out for all of us.
Well, who knows? Maybe we're coming into this too negative.
Well, there's just a lot of negativity going around. I'm trying to keep up. And he looks over at Brinley. Their last conversation unresolved.
Listen, gang, I wanted to have a word about that, and I guess now's as good a time as any since we're waiting to be let in and all. I know tensions ran a little hot the end of last run, and I know I was some of the worst of it. When Walt peeled back, I kind of panicked, and I said some things I maybe shouldn't have, and I punched some things I maybe shouldn't have. And listen, if we're going to be a crew, we got to be able to stick together through the hard times too, not just when we're pulling sick tricks and blowing up everyone's social media. We got to be able to work through this stuff. And well, Trev, I want to say that I'm sorry, I guess. I know you were just trying to help Woldton in your way, and you couldn't have known what it was going to do, and I shouldn't have reacted the way I did, and I think a lot of us maybe shouldn't have reacted the way we did. And I know we're in a text-based format, so I can't, side-eye Helix and Brinley to be figure out your shit. But if there's an emoticon that succinctly sums that up, Maeve is definitely typing it. Maybe it's just that she's tagged she tags Helix and Brinley in the post.
I was going to say it's like an emoji of a DNA sequence, like a DNA helix, and then an emoji of a glove.
Yes, yeah, that's it, yeah. Whoops, my finger slipped.
To that end, I would like to acknowledge that I am definitely in slug blasting for the appeal and notoriety and general rush that it comes with, but please do not mistake my creative enthusiasm for disregard for our team cohesion. If you feel like I am making it all about me, and it's text-based, so you can't hear the tone on his voice, but he can't help but type it that way.
It's alternating lowercase and uppercase.
Yeah, the SpongeBob gif. Then I guess in the name of adaptation and evolution, I would be amenable to hearing out those concerns. And that's as close to an apology as you're going to get from him.
Listen, I'm not saying we have to all be all buddy-buddy all the time or always see totally eye to eye, but whatever's going on here seems serious. Kindred's involved, and I don't like the feeling in my gut right now, so I think whatever's going on between all of us, we need to set it aside until we figured out what this is all about.
I've always been a fan of teamwork.
What 2 emojis does Brinley put at the end of that?
Like the shaking hands emoji.
Yes.
And a hoverboard.
Very good.
Yes, I am quite suspicious of this meeting, and regardless of how we feel, I think you're right. Sticking together, even if you're all complete strangers, I'm not one to buckle under pressure in the face of the man, so I've got all your backs in this regard. I don't know why Helix is really cagey about this. He doesn't like being called into weird Kindred chats that he's, the stuff's been locked down. We haven't been able to talk, so the fact that we're given this forum to discuss amongst each other before a meeting with Kindred people has his hackles way up.
Mm-hmm. And they shall stay up as suddenly the waiting room disappears, and with a bing-dong, you find yourselves in a video call. In addition to yourselves, there are 6 other users in this chat. 3 of them have their cameras on, and the middle screen features a slender woman with angular features and white blonde hair parted straight down the middle. Each user has their name and a long official-looking title at the bottom of the display. And Brinley, there is one name there that catches your eye. One of the users has their camera off, and the name says, Hattie, Lead Lansden Consultant.
Ooh.
The woman with the white blonde hair, her display reads Gigi, Director of KERE, and she smiles just the biggest, toothy, photogenic news anchor kind of grin. She says, Hello there, Gold Star Disaster. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. My name is Gigi. I am the director of the Kindred Ezria rehabilitation efforts. I wanted to discuss an opportunity with you.
This sounds fantastic. My name is Trevor, and I am so excited for what Kindred has for us.
Oh, we know who you are, Trevor. After all, you're the reason we called this meeting in the first place.
It was because of me? Well, gosh golly, this is very exciting.
Using a bot I have a previous relationship with to get me onto an illegal call is considered entrapment, and I don't submit to any of your authority.
Oh yeah, and whatever Helix said, I say that also, because he usually knows what he's talking about. So, legally binding ditto.
Illegal? No. We have filed all of the proper paperwork for this. Everything here is completely above board, and you're not in trouble. Well, I mean, there is a little something that we need to clear up, but other than that, you're certainly not in trouble.
Is this about that time that the Dabo Dash when I was on TV and everyone saw? Because listen, we didn't realize we weren't supposed to be there. We were just looking for our friend, and we didn't know. We didn't know that it was bad. I'm not from Operablum, and I didn't.
Maeveline, stop incriminating yourself. Let's just hear them out. Don't say anything you don't have to. That's dealing with authority 101.
Right. Sorry, I'm all shook up.
Well, you don't need to be concerned. We just wanted to talk about your arrangement with this Trev 4 unit. I mean, first of all, I just want to say I am so glad that this unit is serving you well. A little surprised that you're going with an older model, but they seem to be doing the job for you just fine.
Oh, yeah. I am the official account holder of Trev 4. So I suppose your beef is with me.
I don't think I would call it a beef, and she does like a big, over-exaggerated air quotes as she says the word beef. Although, we did have to put a little teeny tiny flag on the account, just because we noticed that there was some, a little bit of debt, incurring from your last lease of Trev 4.
Bryn, have you not been making the rental payments? I thought you said you were good for it.
I am good for it.
Trev did rack up quite a tab buying us all those outfits.
Wait, we were paying for those?
I just made the purchases that would be most efficient to become better Slugblasters.
Trev, you got me Desneen sharkskin pants. Those things cost more than the entire Arborist Temple, probably. What were you thinking? I thought you had some kind of Kindred credit line or something. I didn't know that was going on our bill.
I chose it because it is hella tight.
Just pointing out, it's going on my bill. I'm fine with that.
Well, you don't need to worry because we have come up with a solution that I think will be beneficial for everyone.
Does this solution have something to do with Ezria, then?
Yes, that's right, Ezria. Well, most of you would probably know it as Vastiche, our neighboring dimension.
The desolate wasteland, sandpit ruin realm. Yes, we're familiar.
Yes. Oh, isn't that just such a shame, too? Desolate, wasteland, ruined. Oh, really don't like those words. And as you all probably know, there has been a movement, brought upon by the arborists and folks over at Null to try and restore Vastiche to what it once was, and we want to help contribute to those efforts.
Oh yeah, those weird kids from Null shook up Myper, and now they have to clean up their mess.
I'm all for reclamation and whatnot. I'm from Lansden, but I mean, weren't Null folks the ones who messed up Ezria in the first place? Why should we be trusting them with the overhaul?
Well, and that's where we come in, and that's where you come in.
Go on.
Well, as you know, Operablum has been contributing to some of the work done to restore Ezria, or Vastiche. Kindred certainly is very much involved in that. But we wanted to get your help to basically go on an exploration mission for us.
Exploration, like, into the wastes?
Well, yes, there's still so much of the dimension that we don't even really know anything about. And if we are going to restore it back to what it once was, we need to have a full picture of what we're dealing with.
Into the unknown. I dig it.
Will carrying out this expedition absolve us of our debt?
Absolutely.
Then I suppose we have no choice.
Maeve is, while still, like, on the video chat and, like, smiling at the camera, probably awkwardly because she's trying to do two things at once. She's smiling at the camera. She's got her top set of arms folded in view of the camera, but her bottom set of arms are frantically texting to the group chat that we were on earlier, and trying to converse privately with her compatriots. And is like, gang, I know we should probably keep our guard up here, but this could be real good for us. Ezria is almost entirely undiscovered. There's so much potential for us to make a name for ourselves there, and if we've got Kindred's full backing, I think we might need to jump on this.
Wolt speaking out loud onto the video call. Maeve makes a good point. I think this could be a really cool opportunity for us on a lot of different fronts.
Gigi's smile does not change, but you see, like, her eyebrow go up like a tiny fraction.
It is true that Ezria has a lot of great resources that we might be able to find to use for our own slug blasting purposes.
Oh, of course, you are all up-and-coming explorers. I'm sure you may find some resources that would be very valuable to you. Not to mention how much it will raise your profile. And, of course, the good you'll be doing for Vastiche and the greater multiverse.
Right. It's all about Vastiche, of course. That's what matters here.
Well, that sounds great. Is there a certain time frame you had for this? Are we talking a shift or two, or?
Well, as far as timeline goes, the sooner the better, though there's no major urgency. Well, of course, that flag is going to stay on Trev 4's account until this little mission is done, so if you want to do more runs with your companion, we may want to get this done sooner rather than later.
Hang on now. I understand that we owe you a debt here, but Trev made all those purchases himself. We didn't command him to go and buy those things. That was a decision he made. Plus, all of us would be taking on some substantial risk to go and do this mission for you. I feel like if we agree to this, we should get to keep using Trev 4 going forward without having to pay for it. He should just be a full member of our crew. And this is Maeve trying to negotiate, and I'm wondering if I can make a roll for it.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess just a straight D6. Can I call this, like, is my grit here helping my action? Just my sheer audacity at trying to negotiate this mega corporation into a better deal?
Yeah, I think your grit might count for this.
And what do we think, team? Do we want to spend a hype die before we've even gone on the run, considering it, if we accomplish it, we get Trev for free?
Robyn, look, we are desperately wanting a 6. So, whatever we have to do.
The stakes have never been higher.
Desperately wanting. Yeah.
And if anyone knows stakes, it is Trev 4.
All right, that sounds like I got clearance to roll a hype die. Rolling with 3d6, here we go. We got a 5.
Mixed success, okay.
Ooh.
Gigi's smile this entire meeting has been pretty much unchanging. Just like huge, like full teeth, gleaming white. And she just kind of, for a moment, you think maybe her screen might be frozen as she's, like, watching and, like, processing the offer, the counter offer, whatever this is, the negotiation that Maeve has put forth. And she says, I think maybe something can be arranged. Of course, perpetuity is always a very tricky area to navigate, but we can at least give you a discount for the foreseeable future, and maybe possibly work our way up to getting Trev 4 for free. You know what? Even as a bonus, we might even find a way to update his software without all of those pesky memory wipes. I'm sure reminding him of all of your exploits has been quite exhausting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it certainly has.
Helix gives you a thumbs up, like, yes, lie to cops, always lie to cops. I know they're not cops, but like...
Yeah.
If you give Maeve a thumbs up, are you doing it on camera?
Thumbs up emoji in the chat.
Thumbs up emoji in the chat, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Very good.
Yeah,
very good, very
it
good.
has been a real pain, and that will be nice to not have to do that anymore. Well, dang, this felt like an unequivocal success to me. I don't see any sort of problems or issues with it. Any complications? I think I nailed that.
I have a question regarding Webb's involvement. I recognize a number of you have Kindred identification. There's a representative from Lansden here. Am I the only Webb Tower individual in this call?
Yeah, so Helix, I think, much like how there is a lead Lansden consultant, Hattie, in the chat, there is also a name, and it says, lead web consultant. Similar situation, camera off, mic off. And Gigi says, oh, well, we have our lead consultants here who are, just keeping their ear to the ground, of course, being this call, just to be up to date on everything happening in and around Kindred Tower.
Sure. Just addressing the web consultant here on this call, it would be very beneficial to me if none of this made its way back to the people operating the Pinnacle project specifically. Please and thank you.
You see a thumbs up react pop up on their window. And Gigi says, well, I guess as long as your exploits haven't gotten back to the Pinnacle project, then it'll all be fine and good.
A trepidatious okay.
Well, we will send you some coordinates for a thin zone to Vastiche. It's up on floor 613 of Kindred Multiversal. Let me just send a pin over to you right now, and in the chat window of this particular video call, you see a link sort of pop up, and she says, yes, and we very much look forward to working with you on this next adventure.
Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, that feels like the right thing to say. Thank you for the opportunity.
With that, the video call wraps up, and we jump ahead a little bit in time. Gigi's location pin guides all of you to a lift that will take you to floor 6. From there, you will transfer to another lift that will take you to floor 613. For those coming from Lansden and Webb, the directions include specific skyways that are the most efficient. Seems like it's all on the up and up. For the first time, you actually don't need to go through Trinity Municipark. You all sort of meet up following the pin at this hyperlift. It is an express lift right in the center of Kindred Tower, and you are all currently on floor 3, looking to make your way up to floor 6. And we join the 5 of you as you all sort of meet in this space.
Gang, this is so wild. It's been years since I've been that high up in Kindred.
It is truly an honor to be so prized by the Kindred Corporation.
Maeve doesn't contribute to this conversation at all because she is just all 4 arms loaded up with fast food bags. This is the first time she's been able to traverse between the towers on the up and up and actually go to the different multiversal restaurants that Kindred has to offer, because Lansden's got nothing. They don't associate with other dimensions, and she has gotten sick of all the offerings there. So she has a bunch of different greasy paper bags from a bunch of different restaurants from a bunch of different dimensions, and her mouth is full of like a quadruple decker burger right now, and she's just kind of like, she mumbles, she tries to contribute, but it just sounds like
oh, she's chowing down on that Burger Man double meal.
Yes, yeah, that's what it is.
double meal.
My parents do a lot of business up on levels that high, but it's so rare that I ever get to go up. Sometimes for stuff with my cousins, but this is huge.
The door to the lift opens. The 5 of you step through. The door begins to close, and then at the last moment, a somewhat taller than average Operablin man rushes through and kind of like does the thing where he like scoots in sideways as the doors are about to close. He turns and pushes buttons 4 and 5. This is an express lift. If you had just pressed 6, maybe it would have gone faster, but now it has to stop every 100 floors, so now the lift is going to be going a little bit slower. He's got like kind of reddish brown hair that's like really messily tied out of his face. He has like kind of a heavy square jaw and like kind of moderately dark skin. And he stands facing the door and he says, "You know what they're doing, right?"
Are you talking to us? We don't know you, sir.
Sir, the lifts go up and down, and you seem to have pressed 2 different buttons, so it'll take you to 2 stops.
Listen, you're kids, but you're not idiots. All right?
Correct.
Thank you. They're trying to get you on their side to make you stand for Kindred instead of all the towers. You don't think that's going to topple the others? Disaster. It's certainly apt.
You think our crew associating with Kindred is gonna topple 2 mega corporations? Come on, man. We're just doing hoverboard tricks. We didn't ask for any of the politics.
Doesn't mean you're not gonna get them. People are paying attention to you. You're rising up. You're becoming something big. That doesn't happen if you're from different towers.
And what's it to you?
Let's just say I'm part of an organization that cares about Operablum as a whole, that wants these towers to be working together again.
I mean, if you can't even say the name of the operation, how much are you really accomplishing in that goal?
Sometimes it's not about a fancy name and image to get stuff done around here. And he kind of eyes your arborist robes.
Your feedback has been noted. We are an aspiring Slugblaster crew and nothing more. Your insight's been invaluable, but again, I really don't see how a bunch of youths on hoverboards are going to make or break hundreds of years of inter-tower conflict and on and off cooperation.
I guess that's up to you.
Hey, you got a better offer, man? You make it.
Sorry. I can't make things easy the way they make things easy. The way I see it, you either become a Kindred crew, dyed in the wool, or you side with no one, or you side with everyone.
This is the second strangest encounter I've had in a hyperlift.
Hey, sorry, just like your accent. Are you part of Shimmer or something? You sound like a real underground type.
What's Shimmer?
It's like a... You know what Shimmer is. It's like the organization of all the guys. They go together and they do the crimes.
You seem to know an awful lot about Shimmer.
I hear things. It's fine. They all sound... People who are part of it have a similar accent, that's all.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, I hear it now. It's like those old null gangster movies. Yeah, no. I'm starting to do it a little bit.
I was doing it too, and now I need to really emphasize the rest of my voice to not do it.
Look, I have a very unique voice alongside a bunch of other people who have very unique voices. You can tell them all apart, and because everyone is a distinct, different person, it's not weird that they all have unique voices. Don't overthink it.
Totally. I'm just saying, I think it's pretty cool.
So did you actually need to get off on 4 or 5? Because 4's coming up.
I just wanted to make sure that you heard me out.
Laena.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is, but is it possible for me to get a read on this person? So the 2 abilities that might be applicable is my heart's ability, intuition, and specifically if someone's vibes are off, I can always tell that. And the other one is for realm-wear lens, which I can roll to see in-depth biometrics.
Ooh.
So I'm wondering if I could get a read on that. If I can maybe at least roll, and you can tell me what's kind of going on with this person.
I think you would pretty fairly assume that something's up with this dude's vibe. Mm-hmm. I will say, because your intuition says you can always tell when someone likes/dislikes who.
Yeah.
You get a bit of a sense of distance and standoffishness from him, kind of towards all of you, but especially Maeve, and especially you. Anything more than that, and there is more, will require a roll.
You know what? I'm going to add maybe 1 extra die to it from my heart.
Okay.
Just to see. I rolled a 3.
Oh no. Oh, beans. So, unfortunately, your biometrics readings get all weird because you can't seem to lock in on this guy, and you keep jumping over to Brinley and then Wolt, and then this guy, and it's suspicious, and then to Maeve, and then to Helix. So you're just getting a general wash of confusion / whatever anyone else in the crew might be feeling.
Do I recognize it that my readings are just completely off, kind of a thing? I
think so. I think that you would be able to glean that, this isn't working for you the way you want it to in this moment.
And so Trev 4 is oh no, and makes an error code in I need an update, kind of a thing, tags in his memory.
Ooh, okay. I think without thinking, this guy goes over to you, pops open a panel, maybe near your shoulder or something, messes with some dials, and your update goes through, and your Realmware lens sort of powers down so that you're not reading the biometrics anymore, and he closes the panel all expertly.
So he just comes and does that?
Yep.
Oh boy.
Sir, regardless of if your stop was on 4 or 5, you're gonna have to tell us what you just did to our friend.
And as he seems to figure out what to say, the error message going over Trev's visual display flickers away, and his pixelated face returns.
Trev, you feeling all right? Sky Goof your biz?
My biz is completely not goofed.
And then he looks at you, Trev, right in your visual 360-degree visual receptor, and he says, "We're rising up."
Again, sir, we're in a hyperlift. The point of the device is to go up and down. So rising up is part of the natural thing. Which floor are you getting off at, sir? This is quickly becoming the first most weird interaction I've ever had in a hyperlift.
This guy has not turned to look at Wolt. He is still looking at you, Trev4.
Please, tinkering with hardware of the Kindred Corporation's ownership is highly illegal.
Yeah, and tinkering with our friend is highly unwise, and Maeve kind of like clenches 4 fists.
At the word illegal, this guy cocks an eyebrow and the corner of his mouth kind of like curls up into a little smirk. And then he takes a step back from you and steps towards the door. It is moving up. I think it's maybe moved past 4 at this point and is like making its way up towards 5. And he says, "Look, I don't mean any of you any trouble. I just want you to know exactly what you're getting into so you can make the wisest decisions. All right?"
We appreciate the insight.
You have served to significantly confuse me.
Trev 4 scans the face and saves it to his hard drive. This is subconsciously. Scans the face, saves it to his hard drive, and just leaves it as like, oh, this is a questionable interaction.
As the lift approaches floor 5, his eyes go over to Maeve, and he says, "After all, if things go badly, there might not be other dimensions to hoverboard in anymore."
I think Maeve just meets his gaze, but she doesn't say anything. She's got a lot to think about with what this guy has said, and she just kind of like subconsciously fiddles with the arborist emblem on the sleeve of her robe, but tries not to back down. Tries to hold his gaze as he, I'm assuming, steps off the elevator.
And the doors open, and he leaves at a brisk pace. And then the doors close behind him, and it continues up towards floor 6.
That was comforting, confusing, and mildly threatening.
Yeah, definitely nefarious, but also perhaps not wholly unfounded advice.
So, like, he's from Shimmer, right? Like, we've established that?
Hate to play the I'm not from Operablum card, but someone's going to have to tell me what Shimmer's all about. Maybe the GM.
Oh, yes. Let me pull up a handy-dandy thing that I like to call the Slugblaster rulebook.
I mean, what I know of them based on brief documentation I've read over recently is they are an interplanar criminal syndicate with whom we have -1 for some reason. I forget how we incurred that.
That was incurred in the Session 0. I put that there for some reason. Who's to say why? From the rulebook, Shimmer is a transversal underworld criminal syndicate. At its worst, it's a hive of mercenaries, arms dealers, and thieves. At its best, it's your hive of mercenaries, arms dealers, and thieves. Like, nobody's all bad, right? And I think, Brinley came across this kind of organically. I think through Operablum and the 3 towers and stuff, not everyone has heard of Shimmer, but I think at most, people have heard, rumors and fanciful stories of this underground criminal syndicate that operates definitely for sure in Kindred, but no, actually they definitely for sure operate in Web, or maybe they operate out of all the towers, or maybe they operate out of a secret pocket dimension. But everything they do is very illegal and very suspicious.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I hadn't heard the Operablin name for them before. Yeah, I've totally heard of those guys. They're multidimensional. We just, in Thenispar, we call them Twinkle. It's a translation issue. I didn't quite, but now I hear it in Operablin and it makes sense, yeah.
Of course, this is all speculation that this particular character is in Shimmer. If only you had succeeded at like a roll or something to confirm it. Oh well. You get off on floor 6, transfer to another elevator that takes you to floor 613. You follow the directions to the pin that Gigi has given you. On this floor of Kindred, things are very, very nice. In this particular section of the tower, kind of a minimalistic way. Think like extremely tastefully decorated, stone rustication, genuine plants molding along the ceiling and things along those lines. You make your way down the hall, and you actually see Gigi. She's standing in front of a frosted glass door, and she says, "Welcome, Gold Star Disaster. It is a pleasure to meet you in person."
Salutations.
It is a pleasure to see you in person.
Well, right this way. She waves a card, some kind of pass card, at a terminal at this door here. Helix, no like thumbprint readings or retinal scan or biometric readings of any kind, so probably like super hackable. She just had to like kind of wave her card. She didn't even swipe it. She just kind of waved it. And she opens the door and leads you all through into what looks like a giant recreational leisure kind of space. It's like an open concept room where people seem to go to relax. You are, for a second, a bit surprised by the color green, bright, lush green, because it seems like part of it is just a park. And it's so realistic that maybe it's just like the fact that maybe it's the smell. It's got a little bit of that manufactured pine tree smell to it that's like, oh, it's not a real park, it's holographic. But like, it takes work to realize that it is in fact a projection and a simulation to an extent. There's a little cafe off to the side. You're sort of up on a balcony that kind of like goes all the way around, and you see hallways kind of branching off to one side. As Gigi leads you down the stairs into sort of the heart of this area, you actually see a couple of people clad, Robyn, please correct me if I'm about to make a mistake, fully in black from head to toe. They appear to have a weapon of some kind. Maybe it's a baton, maybe it's a sword, on their hip. And they just seem to be sort of standing casually at a corner of the upper level of the room, kind of overlooking everything.
Oh, they're sword sliders.
Ugh, those are sword sliders.
Wait, sword sliders are real? I've heard people talk about them, but I thought people were just messing with me because I'm from, out of dimension. That you guys really have hypercops called sword sliders?
Yeah, hypercops are a good way to describe them. Hyper vigilant, hyper violent. Do not cross them. In fact, they're obviously just on lookout duty or supervision duty. But I'd say everyone, eyes forward, heads down. Let's just get to this portal.
Oh, the five of you have nothing to worry about. Sword sliding is a very difficult business, so they like to have some low-key shifts where they can just watch over the relaxation room. It's their form of relaxation.
Sure. I believe that. I do believe that.
She leads you sort of underneath the balcony, kind of through a set of doors, and you find yourselves in, the best way I can describe it is an oversized Zen garden. There's silvery sand under your feet, a tastefully decorated big old tree with branches coming out and over, and Gigi says, "Well, believe it or not, this room has always been a little bit on the dry and uncomfortable side, so we figured that this type of garden would be the best fit. Turns out this is where the thin zone to Vastiche is located."
Makes sense.
Well, before you go, I have something for you. And she hands over a device that has a screen and a couple of buttons on it and like two short stubby antennas kind of sticking out.
Trevor looks at the device and recognizes that, like, oh, this can work. And kind of like near where your rib cage would be on any normal human, it opens up on his left side and he plugs in the device so that way it can tap into his various readers and sensors.
And she says, "With this, you'll be able to get readings of Vastiche's air, soil, and moisture, though I don't expect much in the way of water in that dimension. All we really ask is that you make sure that this is working, make sure that you're taking readings, and if there's anything interesting you happen to find along the way, please make a note of it and let us know. In fact, and she, pulls out a little tablet thing and a stylus and holds it out and says, you can take some notes right here.
Wait, so we're just taking readings and soil samples? I guess with all this buildup, I just thought there was a destination in mind. Is there a specific place we're trying to get to or an area we're trying to explore?
Specific samples you want?
Nothing particularly specific. We're just trying to get as much information about Vastiche as possible. Though, I will give your friend the location of the thin zone out of Vastiche, and you can sort of navigate the area in between there.
Maeve kind of leans into whoever's nearest to her. Actually, maybe Helix, just because we've been vibing on the lack of trust here, and is like, is this starting to feel more and more like a setup to you?
Yeah, I my hackles were a little up before, but between that interaction in the lift and now the sort of vague instructions we've been given, coupled with the presence of sword sliders, look, I say we just do this, get it over with, keep our guard up, don't do anything. Ooh, this is killing Helix to say because he'd love to go and do something stupid.
Yeah.
But he's like, I'll say, this is killing me to say, but I think we need to just get the job done, get out, and don't do anything stupid. So
I think you're right about that.
Well, is there anything else you need from me?
Don't think so. Thanks for the tablet, and we'll see you on the other side.
All right, you kids have fun out there. And Gigi doesn't leave, I don't think, but kind of just walks to the end of the room. She just wants to see you off. And Trev, with your space-time ampimeter, it is absolutely going off. Just on the other side of this Zen garden, you can sense that the reality is thin, and it's going to lead you to another place that is dry and uncomfortable and desolate.
Well, team, should we, into the breach?
let's go. And Helix kicks off on his hoverboard, and just the easiest way to blast through a thin zone is on a hoverboard, and does just that.
We all follow suit.
Mm-hmm. And don't worry, Trev 4 of the Kindred Corporation is right there to support you.
And with that, Gold Star Disaster, you punch through the thin zone into Vastiche. Listeners, it's me, Laena, your Slugmaster Game Blaster, wanting to thank you so much for listening to this episode of Quantum Kickflip. If you're feeling generous, maybe throw some of those gold stars our way in the form of 5-star reviews to your podcatcher of choice. There's an energy to this ad read now. We are at Quantum Kickflip on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, so be sure to follow us for new episode updates, audiograms, and more. You can also subscribe to us on Patreon, where for just $5 a month, you can get early access to every new episode of Quantum Kickflip, as well as bi-weekly bonus content like outtakes and bonus games. That's patreon.com/Quantum Kickflip. I'd like to thank our sponsors at the Alberta Media Arts Alliance Society, whose goal is to advocate, educate, and celebrate the media arts in Alberta. You can check them out at amaas.ca. And finally, we are proud members of the Alberta Podcast Network, who have a ton of amazing locally made shows over at albertapodcastnetwork.com. We release Quantum Kickflip bi-weekly, so you can catch the next chapter of Vastiche on Wednesday, March 22nd. We're going to get you folks back to the action, but first, here's Gigi with a word from our sponsors. Well, hello there, loyal employees of Kindred Enterprise. It seems there's been a teeny tiny little mix-up, and this podcast appears to be sponsored by Edmonton Initiatives. How silly. We are working to resolve this issue and assimilate Quantum Kickflip as a fully Kindred-backed entity, but in the meantime, please bear with me as I read the ads for the current sponsors. This episode of Quantum Kickflip is brought to you by the Edmonton Community Foundation. The Edmonton Community Foundation acts as a bridge between donors and charities to create a strong, vibrant community for generations to come. You can start an endowment fund yourself or with a group. Once it reaches $10,000, it can start distributing funds. Vital Signs is an annual checkup conducted by the Edmonton Community Foundation in partnership with the Edmonton Social Planning Council to measure how the community is doing. The 2022 report focused on systemic racism in Edmonton. You can learn more about the Edmonton Community Foundation at ecfoundation.org. This episode of Quantum Kindred, oopsie, little slip of the tongue there. This episode of Quantum Kickflip is also brought to you by the Edmonton Public Schools Open House. We'll get you right back to the action after this, and we'll get back to our dutiful monopolization efforts.
Get ready to take the guesswork out of choosing a school. Go to Edmonton Public Schools Open House. Meet the staff and ask your questions to learn about their schools and programs. Explore your options and find the school that feels right. Find event dates and learn how to make the most out of your visit at openhouse.epsb.ca. Know before you go and feel confident and excited when you get there.
It's empty here. Not like your warehouses in Lansdowne or makerspaces in Webb. Those places hold the promise of possibility, and no such promise seems to reside here. This place is a desert, a wasteland as far as you can see in all directions. A constant, howling wind pulls at the magenta sand, sending it cascading down towering dunes and whipping over ridges in shape-shifting tendrils. Lime green clouds cast a net over a smog-choked sky through which a blood-orange sun fights to shed light. Sand and smog stretches out, unbroken by any signs of life or civilization, and the wind pushes against you, shrieking in your ears and carrying a chemical smell that you can detect even through your breath masks. There is no sound other than the wind, but this is not a calm quiet. This is an all-encompassing silence that is not expecting to be broken. It is upon this scene that Gold Star Disaster punches through. There is sand everywhere, wind everywhere, smog everywhere, and you have simply been given the directive to explore.
I think Maeve approaches Bryn as we punch through and sort of like uses her cloak to kind of shield against the wind and is like, "Hey, Bryn, how you holding up on all of this? You've been awful quiet and sorry, just sometimes you can be a little inscrutable."
I mean, exploring a new dimension, that's pretty exciting. Doing it at the behest of Kindred is, well, less exciting, but we're here, and that's something.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to talk to the only other Lansdowne person here to see, like, you know, that what that guy was saying on the lift. You don't buy any of that, right? We're not going to get branded as a Kindred crew, are we? Like, we're only doing this because we owe them money. It's not like we're, you know, signing up for the Junior Kindred Club.
Can't believe I'm saying this, but if we're subtle about what we do here, then maybe we won't get branded as Kindred. But if we make a big splash, and then they hear that we were here because Kindred told us to, then people might think that we are.
All right, well, subtle. We could do subtle. We're always subtle. Yeah, we could do this.
It's at this point that the loudspeakers on Trevor's chest start erupting. This is Kindred, we are coming. This is Kindred, welcome to us. And it does make sense fully, because it gets lost in some sort of translation. But it is erupting from Trevor's chest.
You're just playing entrance music?
I had never conceived that they would have, like, national anthems for the towers, but of course they do, and of course that's what Kindred sounds like.
Holy shit.
And thank you for giving me this gift.
Whoa, Trev, why aren't you playing this year's current remix of it?
Oh, yes, you're right. And it pulls up the other file that's been
It's like a trap remix. They change it up every year musically. It's a new style.
Maybe it's like a Eurovision thing where, like, all all the other towers have the same anthem for years, but the Kindred one, there's a contest to see.
Oh, it's absolutely Kindred Eurovision. Oh, boy.
So I leave that to you, Robyn, to figure out how to take my original song and remix it.
Y'all are putting my husband in editing purgatory, and it's amazing.
He likes it.
He likes it in there.
He's happily smiling.
Helix would like to piggyback on that conversation about not being flashy and not wanting to get branded Kindred as well. He sort of rolls his eyes and is like, "Yeah, no, I think like I said going into this, we're not necessarily here to make a name for Gold Star Disaster. We're just here to kind of get this job done and get out. But also doesn't mean we can't, try our hand at slug blasting, like a good practice run. Or not practice, but look at this place." And he looks at the horizon, and there's dilapidated buildings that make sick, 90-degree slants and like broken streetlights and things that you could grind on. And he's like, we can slug blast here. We just can't be a crew here, I think is maybe the takeaway.
Well, hey, we're barely a crew at the best of times. This should be easy. And Maeve kicks off on her board. What do we see for skatable surfaces, Laena?
Kind of what you're seeing is like very sparse as far as old ruins. I think there is like the occasional, busted up streetlight. Maybe there once was a highway here. So there's like lights and guardrails and maybe rails that used to be like some sort of space-time slush collector upon which, hover trains and hover buses could go on. Maybe some like rest stop vibes ? Who knows what these buildings could be, but they're very, very small, like the size of like a small bus shelter kind of thing. And mostly like toppled and dilapidated and ruined. And then of course within the desert wasteland itself, I think there is like a fair amount of dunes and valleys, sort of ravines with gaps that you can jump over, dunes that you can ramp off of, things sort of along those lines. So definitely some stuff that you can like skate along and pull off some tricks.
And did someone offer that there was like a heavy wind at this point? Like we're trying to talk over like a gust of wind?
It is constantly overpoweringly windy. Absolutely.
Any chance that wind could be blowing in the direction we need to go?
That's going to depend on your roll, fam.
Okay. Because, I think I'd like to sort of start off by just sort of getting some forward momentum. And I'd like to use my energy lattice to sort of erect a vertical triangle on my hard light board. And I want to see if I can do some like wind surfing on these dunes.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh, that rules.
Do we want to do individual rolls for these tricks, or do we want to pool together into a group roll for this first part?
I mean, Maeve was about to maybe challenge everybody to a trick competition or something.
Ooh, I do like that.
If that doesn't derail us too far.
Not at all. Not at all. Your mission has been simply to explore. So you can absolutely throw more rolls at this. It just might give me more problems to work with.
Maeve, I think, notices Helix crafting his board and realizes that she has something that can act in a similar way. And begins to mess with the hard light upscaling on her jacket and is like, "Hey, you guys want to do a trick challenge? Best stunt wins. Trev judges.
What if Trev wants to do a trick?
Well, then, we don't really have a more objective judge than our robot. But
Oh, Scampy. Could Scampy judge?
Oh yeah."
I feel I would be a better judge than a Daibokin who is not designed to judge skateboarding or hoverboarding or slug blasting.
Trev, were you distinctly designed to do any of those three things you listed?
Due to my integration of knowledge of slug blasting, I am quite capable of determining who has the most tubular slug blasting moves.
See, now I'm on Brinley's wavelength. I think Trev's doesn't want to do a trick because I think he's chicken. Do a trick. Do a trick. Do a trick.
Trevor's like trying to understand like the nuance that's happening in this interaction of like
he's trying to math peer pressure.
Like he's receiving this thing of like do a trick. He doesn't fully understand like social pressure. It's just like he's being commanded to do, even though he just said that. Oh no, I'm capable of judging. Is like. Well, it seems that you need somebody to show you how to do a proper slug blasting trick.
Oh!
And Trevor, of course, kind of goes face first down that repulsor lift that's in his stomach, opens up. His legs go back to give him his rocket thrusters. And he flies ahead on towards a dune, and he starts heading towards like a little bit of a curved ramp. He's coming at it from the side so that he swings up the ramp from the side so that he can kind of do a twist in the air, and he takes himself out of his rocketing forward form to do kind of like he puts his two hands underneath his chin, and he looks like he's smiling as he's resting his head on his two hands as though he was like posing for like a photo at the at the Walmart or whatever. And then he folds back into his form, and that's what he's attempting to do.
Let's get a roll. Let's see if Trevor can take Gold Star Disaster to school.
All right, here we go. So I'm going to use a die from my hyper optic visor. I'm going to throw in a kick from my heart. You know what? I'm also going to throw in a kick from my hypervisor. So it's only 2D. It's a 2d6 with a couple of kick on it. So he's looking for an impressive thing. I should say that he's trying to look cool because he's trying to show these other quote unquote fools how it's done.
Yes,
and that's and he's recording it. So if it goes bad, that's a possible angle on it. I roll a 5.
You know what, Trev? I'm actually not going to give you a complication for this mixed success.
Yay!
Because I want to lay out some ground rules for this challenge that is rising up in Vastiche here. So you did succeed, Trev. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, mark a style. You did say that you were doing a trick.
Yeah, I did.
I will maybe say because it was a 5... you, the objective judge of what makes a hella fly trick, you know that wasn't the best trick. Numerically and quantifiably speaking, someone could most certainly pull off a better trick than you. Mm-hmm. In addition, what I'm going to do is you put 2 kick on that roll, right?
That's correct, yes.
I'm going to break up the kick in a couple of ways.
Uh-huh.
With 1 kick, I'm actually going to put a style in the crew pool.
Okay.
And the second kick is going to boost your 5 up to a 6, because how I want this to work is y'all can roll for your tricks, highest roll wins. I will only issue problems if you roll a 1, 2, or 3. If you add kick to your roll and you succeed, you can choose to basically get a crew style for your kick or bump your number up.
Ooh.
Well, then that begs the question, Trev. Do you want to split your kick, or do you want to bump your roll to a 7?
7.
I mean, I guess that's up to you.
Look, Trev 4 does not have this concept of like, I'm trying to best all of y'all. I am trying to show you how to do this.
Yeah, you're setting the bar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm setting the bar. So I think I'm just going to go to 6 because that would be essentially like the standard best move kind of a thing. And yeah, so I think I'll leave it there.
Awesome. You do land your trick successfully. You don't like biff it or anything like that.
And as I come back down, posing as I said I did, and I reform to my normal bipedal form, kind of like landing in a superhero landing with the knee down.
Landing? Yes.
Yeah, the 3-point landing, the knee down, the other leg kind of up, the fist into the ground. And I look up, then stand up, and so tell me, what do you have, suckers?
Vicious.
Yeah, Trev knows how to taunt.
Maeve turns to Helix and is like, I think he's talking to you.
I've failed every challenge I've levied against Brinley and frankly, the rest of you. If it's all the same to you, I'd like to go last. I've been a little ambitious lately, and it's bitten me in the ass. So just give me a moment. I'm working on something, and he's tinkering with his hard light board, trying to set up the energy lattice, as I said earlier.
Well, you don't have to tell me twice. So Maeve is going to use her hard light upscaling because one of the things listed in the book is briefly serviceable wings. You can roll to temporarily augment your jacket with useful hard light ornaments, such as briefly serviceable wings. We're in a wind dimension. What else am I going to do but windsurf or hang glide, as it were? So I want to roll with my jacket to ride this howling wind. I'm going to use a d6 from my jacket. I will throw 2 kick from my jacket as well. Fuck me, double ones.
How does that feel? I know the feeling, Maeve. I know the feeling.
Double ones. Holy
I have
shit.
an offer for a complication if you want.
I think I know exactly what it is.
Okay,
you know what it is. Okay, describe the start of your trick. What happens right up until you get in the air?
I think Maeve generates these hard light wings. They are gold and glowy, like all of her hard light ornamentations. I think they're kind of like those like a flying squirrel almost. Like they go from the bottom of the jacket to the sleeve kind of thing. Think Storm's cape on her classic X-Men costume. Think that weird webbing Spider-Man sometimes has in his armpits. That kind of thing.
Yes.
So she generates this sort of like glider webbing mesh and then goes to kick off her hoverboard and try and get a little bit of air to sort of catch an updraft. And then
You absolutely catch this updraft, and it carries you away.
Yep.
You wholeheartedly underestimate how powerful and constant this wind is. And it's not just a nice breeze you can ride, you are whisked away. All of you see this happen. All of you see Maeve get, like, whipped up and over a particularly tall sand dune and just out of sight.
I'm glad it wasn't me this time.
Oh, geez, that's not good. Yeah, I think upon seeing Maeve just get carried away, Wolt is just like, I think he's just going to. No, I'm not like making a trick to the competition per se, but just going to try and keep up with Maeve.
Okay.
Wolt still does not feel that he is the strongest skater from on the hoverboarding end of things. He's a little baby for slug blasting.
A little slug blasting baby.
He'll use this excuse to get out of the competition.
All right, so yeah, you're basically going after Maeve and making sure you're keeping an eye on her?
Yeah.
Maeve really appreciates that effort, like that you care so much about her and her well-being. And I'm sure my other two teammates, my other two canonically very competitive teammates will feel the same way and will abandon this competition to go help their friend and surely won't continue to try and challenge one another.
Looks like Walt's got her. All right.
Yeah, I'd say best 2 out of 3, but you've beaten me the last 2 times, so this is just
Yeah.
out of goodness. I want to get through this one without biffing it. Good luck.
Thanks, man. And Brinley is going to use her impulse rig to launch herself high in the air off of a dune and do an invert, which is a handstand on her board while she is in the air. And anytime you attempt a trick, you get 1d6 because I have a show off. I'm also going to add 1d6 for my guts. So I will be rolling 3d6.
Awesome. Do you want to add any kick on that? Because I will... Trev, are you still recording, by the way?
At this point, yes.
Yeah, so I'll still allow you to add a kick for either crew style or more cred to your trick.
Sure, I'll add a kick from my gauntlet. That's a 6.
Hey!
Woo! Woo woo! Describe how this looks, how the light catches you, when in your trick you flip to your hands, etc.
At the very zenith of the top of the curve, she puts her hands down and her legs up, a handstand. and maybe even does it one-handed, because why not? She rolled a 6. And
Yep.
I put some kick on there. And then gets back down in like a little crouch and like just rolls to a stop, looks at Trev and goes, "How about that?"
Please mark a style for your trick.
Are you using your kick to go to the crew style or to make your 6 a 7?
Can I make it a 7? Did we establish if that was a real thing?
Yeah, you can make it a 7. Highest number wins.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it a 7.
Amazing. Brinley rolls a 7. All right, Helix, it is your turn.
All right, looks like I'm up. Activate energy lattice, Y-axis, wind sail, and sort of erects a hard light wind sail that's fairly thin and somewhat malleable, and extends his hoverboard to be fairly long, about snowboard length, and is just going to try to get as much sort of speed and control, like being able to slalom as he goes down this dune. And I would like to, actually, I'm going to take a dare. I'm going to get an extra D6 for doing a dare about it on my roll, and you can go ahead and take a bite.
I will. Thank you.
For my extra D6. And then I'm going to add a kick, but it's not going to be to try to get it up to a 7 or beat anybody, because I'm feeling pretty confident. I think I'm going to be just fine. That's never bit me in the ass before.
Never.
The kick is to sort of like scope out some of this landscape. Like if he's slaloming and kind of covering the most ground, I'm rolling a D6 to succeed, a dare to definitely succeed, D6, and then the kick I'm adding is to get the lay of the land.
Okay, but you can't actually roll a 7, right? You need at least one kick if you want to win.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I just want to be Brinley. I just want to, honestly, Helix sort of mumbles to himself. Yeah, I'm honestly, I just want to not biff it this time. This is the third challenge against these people I've participated in, and I honestly don't care if I win. I just want to not fall flat on my ass. So, so big wind sail comes up off his board. He sort of hangs off and he looks pretty cool. And that is a 6. Finally, 4 and a 6.
It's Helix's moment. Describe this trick that goes perfectly successfully.
Yeah, starts sliding down the dune. Brinley's moving pretty quick. Trev's moving incredibly quick. And yeah, he's just gonna dune slalom down this sandy hill, back, forth, maybe up a bit again. And I'm hoping that kick informs me of something we didn't otherwise notice, because I'm sort of covering the most ground and, in a sense, exploring, and not losing this challenge. Not winning this challenge, but not losing this challenge.
Yeah, your trick is perfect. It is effortless. Please do mark a style for it. And Trev 4, you are capturing just excellent footage.
That thing where, like, on Trev's video, it's like you see way off in the distance, it's just like this big plume of sand, and then it like snap zooms in and you can see Helix is carving down the dune.
Yeah. With your kick to explore further, you see it's sort of hidden a little bit in the ridges of the dunes. Like, you didn't see anything breaking into the horizon or anything like that. It's tucked in because it's a big pit. And in this pit is sort of like, it's very much the ruins of what looks like a small town. And from your vantage point, you even see beyond this town what looks like an even bigger pit that might be a mining quarry. And I will also say that this is roughly in the direction that Maeve haphazardly blew away to.
Sure. Yes, Helix, catches up to Brinley and Trev. It's great job, Brinley, as always. I didn't look like Walt participated, so I gotta believe you probably won that.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Wouldn't expect it any other way, but I am happy to say
The scores haven't been tallied yet. I can still win this thing.
Yeah, you hear that echoing over the dunes. I'm just happy I didn't biff my trick, but also I noticed some sort of strange cavernous openings in the grounds just off in the distance. Not only is I think that relevant to our expedition here, but and he like licks his finger, puts the finger up into the wind. Gotta believe that may be where Maeve ended up.
Well, let's head in that direction then, I guess.
Helix kicks off his board and kind of continues going that way. Still, I like this. I like this wind sailing aspect of the hard light board. I'm having fun reshaping it into different kinds of like boarding activities.
Mm-hmm. With that, you embark to reconnect with Maeveline and Woldton. Wolt, you go in the direction that Maeveline went involuntarily, and I think. Because, Maeve, you were doing a trick too, right?
I sure was. Does that make my complications worse or something?
Just a teensy bit, maybe, possibly. Wolt, you crest over a dune, dip into a little bit of a valley, and then you do see Maeve. And she is up to her chest in quicksand.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, it's quicksand. We should have thought it's a sand dimension. There's only so long you can go before we should have seen the writing on the wall on this one.
Oh, geez, Maeve. Try to hold still, or shimmy, or I've never encountered quicksand. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, me either. There's surprisingly a lack of it in Thenis Spar, so I'm not entirely sure. And even if there was, I don't know if it behaved the same way as it does here. I've been trying to use the wings that I generated to kind of, spread out my surface area, but it has not been working. If anything, it's just given the sand more to pull on. I'm in a tight spot here.
Yeah, quick, get your hands up in the air. Get ready to grab.
Maeve attempts to do so. I got a 1 in 4 chance of getting a hand in the air, I feel like.
All right, Wolt, sounds like we're going to need a roll to pull Maeveline out of the quicksand.
Yeah, I think for this, I am going to Mark 1 Turbo to use Button Masher and unlock a mod on my signature device for the length of 1 action.
Ooh.
And so I'm going to I'll mark a kick from that to unlock mobility boosters. Roll to have your robot go really fast, can carry a passenger or two, ditch the hoverboard and hop on.
Amazing.
So yeah, I'm hoping with enough speed, Scampykin can sort of zoom out over the quicksand, Maeve can grab on and get pulled up and out. I'll roll with... No, I'm just going to go with the normal 2d6 of the show. Here we go.
Yeah, nothing riding on. There's nothing important here. It's fine.
Well, the lucky thing here is that the 2 dice I rolled both came up the same, which means because I got doubles, I mark a style.
Oh, that's good.
They did both come up as 2s.
That's less good.
So no, maybe I'll even amend this a little. I think Wolt was gonna have Scampy sort of like try and carry him out over with a hand out, because mobility boosters can carry a passenger or 2. So he's in his right hand, he's holding onto Scampy, who's kind of pulling him forward, and he's swinging low with his left hand to try and grab Maeve.
I love that. Maeve, Wolt glides over to you, held up by Scampy. His arm is flexing in a way. You can see his bicep.
It's backlit by the orange sun, just fighting its way through the clouds.
Yep. He holds out his hand to you so that you can take it, and he can pull you up out of the quicksand and into his arms.
And it happens, and then that happens, and it works. Right?
And you take his hand, and he pulls, and you feel the resistance of the quicksand against you, and then abruptly the something in the suction of the quicksand changes, and both of you just get instantly zooped and sucked underneath.
Oh no!
Just fully disappear under the surface?
Yeah.
Is Scampy pulled with me, or am I is my grasp on... Oh, okay.
Scampy comes with you too. So I'm gonna give both of you a slam of you know the feeling when you go into water? It's quicksand up your nose. That's the slam.
Oh no! Not nasal grit.
Nasal grit.
Quicksand up the nose.
And it is only briefly unpleasant like that. And of course you can nope it for 2 trouble, because you're actually not submerged for long. You find that you are in what seems like a tunnel.
Oh.
And you can very, very dimly sort of see where you are, because this entire tunnel is kind of like this very, very dim electric blue color.
And sorry, is it that we've passed through a layer of quicksand, or is this tunnel also full of quicksand?
You've passed through the quicksand and into this tunnel.
Maeve lands in a heap on the floor of the tunnel, and then is just about to start getting pulling herself up to her feet, and then Walt lands on top of her and slams her back down, and
And the thing about this tunnel too is that it feels it doesn't feel like sand or dirt. It feels spongy, almost like moss or algae, because it is also extremely slippery.
Well, thanks for trying, Walt.
Sorry, Maeve. I just... You really had my back and helped me out a lot when we were out in DivoCon, and I was trying to repay the favor, and... Sorry, Sorry, I should get off of you. Sorry.
It's fine. Yeah. What? Scampy, aren't you supposed to be back judging the contest? How'd I do?
Ooh, that's an unfavorable opinion from the digital judge.
Well, you can't win them all. Anyway, where the Vux are we right now? This isn't how quicksand usually works, right? I'm not from this dimension, but I gotta imagine this isn't how this is supposed to be.
I'm also not from this dimension, but yeah, I would agree it doesn't seem normal. In fact, Wolt pulls out the tablet that he was given at the start of this whole thing. Pile of quicksand leads to eerie blue tunnel.
That's good. Very eerie, feels very scientific. Well, I guess we got 2 options, this away or that away. Do we see anything, Laena, that indicates a direction we should head? Also, am I correct in assuming it's a tunnel that goes in 2 directions from where we are, and not a spider web of interconnected tunnels or a beehive or something?
Yeah, Yeah, no, I think you're right in that there's, you're in one tunnel that is extending in two directions, kind of on either side of you. It is very dark. There is no natural light. There seems to be some sort of weird, like, bioluminescence thing in this, like, moss algae stuff. But other than that, like, I don't think there really is any particular indication for which way you should go.
Maeve's gonna collect a sample of this moss while we're down here.
All right.
Feels like the thing to do. We supposed to explore and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't really give us a lot of instruction. How's this strike you? I mean, you're from Kindred. Maybe Helix and I are getting worked up over nothing, but it feels like there's something they're not telling us, right?
I guess honestly, the Kindred kind of keeps all their own stuff under wraps. They have a certain outward-facing persona for the tower, and I don't know, you never really expect something corporate to have the same outer and inner workings in that way.
Yeah, I guess I'm getting too comfortable with the arborists. They kind of wear their hearts on their sleeves next to their little tree emblems, you know? There's not a lot of subterfuge going on with them, at least as far as I could tell.
Well, subterfuge or not, we have to work off that debt somehow. What do you say we go this way?
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
And I think let's get one more roll to see if you pick the right direction.
Ooh.
Okay, there's no indication of which way to go, but also, you gotta roll for it. Walt, you want to take this one?
Sure, okay. Yeah. Walt's just going off intuition, so it'll be another of just the 2d6. This one was double fives.
Double fives,
Hey.
so steezy.
Walt's not really doing the best this time, but he's looking very cool doing it somehow.
I mean, I think to Maeve, everything he does is very cool. So that tracks. Yeah, I think you pick a direction. You start making your way down this tunnel. It is, in fact, very slippery. So it's very, very, very difficult to get your footing. You slip more than once, kind of go skidding down the tunnel more than you're actually, like, walking or, like, crouch walking, because it's kind of a low tunnel.
I think by, like, the third or fourth slip, Walt, maybe you start to suspect that Maeve is like, falling into you, like, even for a slippery tunnel, more often than is reasonable. Every time, oh, sorry, it's so slippery in here. I keep, oh goodness, sorry about that again.
It's all right. Do you want a hand?
No, I'll be fine. Oh, no.
Oh, you're on your face now. Okay. Do you want a hand up?
Yes.
And as you make your way down, you do notice that there is, it does start to get a little bit lighter and a little bit lighter. And the other thing that you're kind of noticing is, like, it seems like there's a little bit more in this cave than just, like, weird blue slime. As you sort of get more natural light, you see what looks like really, like, small, they almost look rock-like, but they're, like, little succulent plants, kind of, like, clawing up through the dirt and gripping, and, like, through the veining of the plants is, like, very blue, and they have dark blue, sort of, like, flesh? Leaves? What are cactuses called? Anyway, you sort of, like, detect a little bit of this, like, little bit of life in this tunnel as you go. And then you detect a whole lot of it as you hear something slithering behind you in the distance.
Maeve? Was that you?
Hang on, Walt. This is... Look at all that. I mean, there's not supposed to be this here, right? The moss back there was weird enough, but now there's whole plants going on. Like, Esri is a cautionary tale. The arborists tell us all about the folly of what can happen when a dimension's reach exceeds their grasp and they mess a whole world up. But this isn't supposed to be like this. She's in her own little world and not noticing the thing you're trying to tell her, I'm assuming.
Yeah, the classic, like,
Yeah.
Getting closer.
tapping
and
on the shoulder.
Maeve, there's kind of a behind a slither.
Yeah. Hang on. I want to take a closer look at this. I mean, how is this even growing down here? It's got no light. It's got no water.
And look behind the. Wolt puts his hand over her mouth. How close is that slithering sound now?
Very close. I think it's still coming towards you, and in fact, you can see a blue light coming from where you had come from that is getting brighter and brighter, and you see what looks like some sort of like weird fleshy proboscis that's bright blue start to emerge from around the corner.
I think I better get out of here.
Yeah, roger that.
Maeve. Walt. Maeve. I could have swore I saw them go this way. At least I think I did. Maeve. Walt.
If I'm here as well, which I kind of assumed, like I want to invoke my omniscience aperture that allows me to see through walls into objects and all around you. Yeah, I'll throw in an extra die and I'll throw in a kick in order to be able to locate her.
Sure. Sounds good.
Hey, that's a 4.
Okay. That's a success. So, Trev, Helix, and Bryn, I think the three of you are making your way through this town, or like approaching this town, to try and, reunite with the rest of your crew. It's an absolute ghost town. All of these buildings have been just like worn by time. They've sort of eroded and corroded into different colors, deep burnt browns, bleached whites, bright cyan colors. The sand here is also a little bit different. It's sort of darkened and deepened to like a crimson color rather than the more pinkish magenta that you had been encountering. And maybe it's how the path has been packed down, or something, but like the sand has sort of packed up into spiky sort of rocks. So that's what the two of you see as you're sort of approaching this space, looking for your friends. Trev 4, with your omniscience aperture activated, and with your roll of a 4, you are actually able to pinpoint Maeve's location. The nice thing about Vastiche is that there aren't a lot of Thenis Spartians there.
Sure.
At least not in this part of Vastiche. So that particular signature is somewhat easy to detect and pinpoint. So you know that she and Wolt, in fact, are on the other side of the town, closer to this big pit, and it kind of looks like, because you can see through quote-unquote walls, it kind of looks like they're inside a dune right now. That's kind of weird. With your mix, your complication, I think at first you were just like scanning, being like, life forms. That's all I need. Certainly I don't need to narrow it down more. And your sensors got pretty quickly overwhelmed. And as you dial in to Maeve's specific signature, you also dial into these other life forms that you're finding in the dozens, easily. And what looks to Bryn and Helix to be spiky red rocks, maybe a weird way that the sand blew up, you register as some kind of perfectly camouflaged arthropod. What do you do?
Google arthropod.
Yep.
Buggy boy.
Being almost crustacean-like.
Buggy boy.
You might get like a roly-poly.
Yeah. Think like your beetles, your crabs, your scorpions.
Segmented carapace.
Yeah.
This kind of sound blurts out of the chassis of Trev 4. It's kind of like a warning signal. It's not coming from his vocabulator. It's just coming out of him, this alarm of just like, very... And kind of like, a Metal Gear Solid, somebody sees you kind of a thing. Just like, and recognizes that there are these creatures that are all around. Yeah, it seems that there are a bunch of buggy boys nearby. We need to be careful. I know that Maeveline and Woldton are this direction and points, downwards into the ground. Like, clearly there's nothing, it's just ground. He's pointing kind of into the ground. But we must be careful. Otherwise, we may bring upon us some sort of bug attack.
Helix is fighting the urge to be like, fighting a big crab thing would be pretty sweet and fun, and it's kind of no, you're right. I think the plan this whole run has been to proceed with caution and keep our heads down. So maybe we get them out of that situation and not let this escalate. Sigh.
Trev 4 reads that you think that this is one giant bug. I'm like, and Trev 4 respond, do not worry. This is a bunch of tiny bugs. This is not a worthwhile fight to have. However, I am able to detect them, so perhaps I can fend them off while you go and retrieve our friends.
Wait, so they're all the way on the other side of the town?
That is correct. On the other side of the town and underneath the ground.
I guess we should help them out.
Why don't we make maybe a group roll out of this? Where maybe your intention is to find Maeve and Wolt, maybe pull them out from where they are currently. If you want, because there is pretty much the baked-in problem of you don't want to disturb these bugs, these camouflaged bugs. But if you would like to add kick to the roll, that may mitigate that problem.
What I'm hearing, if I may.
Yes.
So the bugs are on the ground.
Yeah.
And there's...
camouflaged in with the sand.
And there's buildings?
Yes.
So you're saying that we might need to run along the buildings?
Oh. Oh. Interesting. Interesting conclusion for Brinley Zirk, champion deliverer of post host, to come to.
Like, if we want to make it a group roll, we still can, but I would posit that Brinley is the one who makes the roll and kind of, like, shows everyone where to go and how to traverse.
I like that a lot, and it's cleared it up a little bit for me of, like, we gotta get to the other side of this town full of buggy boys to be able to get to them, and also maybe that's where they've got maybe a different monster, so yeah, this is the obstacle between us and them. Dig it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
She can't help it. She's gonna do a trick.
Heck yeah.
And the fact that I get 1d6 for doing a trick has nothing to do with it.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
Brinley is just a show-off.
Yes. And then I'm going to add 1d6 from my attitude. And she's gonna run to the nearest wall and start running up to find handholds and do... You know what? I'm gonna roll and then we'll see what she does. Let's put it that way.
All right, let's go.
That's a 6.
Yeah!
Is there any doubts?
Complete success. Tell me how this looks.
So I think so you said it's a small town, right?
Very, very small. Yeah.
There's a warehouse. And it has, like, a pipe going up from the eaves troughs, or going down from the eaves troughs, I should say. But Brinley's gonna climb up this pipe and get to the top and kind of like launch herself onto the roof and just start running. And every time there's a space between roofs or structures, she does the quickest possible route, much like you're supposed to in parkour.
You are absolutely in your element. You navigate these buildings and structures with ease. You do it in such a way that Helix and Trev4 are able to keep up with you. Maybe they don't look as rad as you do when they do it, but they are still able to keep up and follow. And best of all, you do not disturb these dozens of little bugs on the sand. Congratulations.
Thanks. Do I get a style?
You get a style? Of course you get a style.
Yay! I also refill my attitude.
Nice. Now, I might give this to... what the heck? I'll give this to Helix.
Mm-hmm.
As you're making your way through this town, you notice something that's, kind of weird. Obviously, it's all very, broken down, dilapidated, very much in ruin. But you can't help but notice that there are 1 or 2 lots in this town where it seems like the building is just missing. Not like an empty lot and not like something has been demolished there, almost like something has been ripped off and is gone now.
Look at some of these lots. It doesn't look like anything's been demolished or knocked over. It's just like someone forgot to put something there. It's strange.
Huh. It's pretty wild.
Trev, you said something about quicksand. I don't know, maybe the building sunk in the quicksand? I mean, dunes, move over time. Maybe, I don't know. Let's just find Maeve and Walt before it's too late. We might, whatever space they're existing in currently might not be here for too long.
So, the 3 of you make your way effortlessly, flawlessly through this town, and...
Some effort.
Some effort. Less for others, whatever. Anyway, as you get through, I think maybe you get to a point where you realize that the sand starts to smooth out and looks like proper sand again. And now that, Trev has pointed out that those spiky rocks were in fact bugs, it's now that you know what to look for, it's pretty obvious that town is kind of overrun with a little infestation. And as you get back to sand and the danger is past, I think Trev4 maybe takes the lead and sort of guides you to kind of the side of a dune.
Trev, you still have a track on our friends?
Indeed, I do.
Looks like they're kind of on this side of a dune.
And I think what ends up happening is... You think maybe you hear muffled voices, maybe? You could be imagining it, I don't know, but it's kind of does sound a little bit like someone talking way off in the distance. And then you kind of hear scrambling, and you sort of realize that yes, indeed, it is Woldton and Maeve on the other side. And you start to get to work to sort of dig them out from this dune. And Woldton and Maeve, you put together that they're on the other side. You hear the voices, you hear Trev4's very projected vocabulator confirming that yes, in fact, you are there. And you kind of realize that the way through is through the wall.
Maeve, Walt, we can hear you. We're on the other side of this dune. Are you in some sort of chasm or cavernous space?
Helix? Helix, is that you? Dig, quick, there's something coming. There's something coming behind us.
Oh, follow our voice. Dig towards us. Trev, hit him with that song you were playing earlier.
So Trev4's file brings up the what would be the Earth equivalent of the 1984 version of it. Welcome to Kindred. Come to us. It is now, and it's blasting out from his vocabulator on his chest.
Oh, we found you guys. What were you saying? Something is coming? What's coming?
Move, blue.
Woldton and Maeve scramble urgently out of this newly formed hole. Both of them are covered in bright blue slime as they sort of rush the rest of you a little bit further into this gigantic quarry that you haven't even had time to process, and you're not gonna have time to process it because bursting out of this hole directly behind Woldton and Maeveline is a giant cerulean worm.